I have this core memory of being in a car with my family and being surrounded by something green. I don't quite remember what the green was. It might have been grass, might have been bushes, might have been trees. But we were listening to the radio, and this young woman I'd never heard of before sang about her friend Drew being the reason for the teardrops on her guitar. And I remember really liking the song and just kind of thinking to myself, like, I hope she ends up having like a good career. I'm rooting for her. And well, it turns out that young woman was named Taylor Swift, and she certainly has had a great career. I believe 12 albums, not including the Taylor's versions or any live albums or anything like that. 14 Grammys, 4 Album of the Year wins, and a passionately loyal fan base. I had a pretty decent familiarity with Taylor's music before trying to go through all the albums. Usually, I would say of the first few albums, there was usually a handful of songs that I knew, mostly the singles. And then with some of the later albums, I would maybe know a song or two that I'd heard on the radio. And generally speaking, I would say that I had liked the songs that I had heard. Though, I do have to bring up a couple songs in particular. I remember Style. Just I didn't care for it when it had like just come out and I was hearing it all the time. It just never really clicked with me. Re-listening to it, I do think it's pretty good. And we are never ever ever getting back together. That had come out like right at a time when like the girl I was dating dumped me. And it was just the worst time to hear that song constantly. So I had beef with that particular song, but I think it's a fine song. It was just not the right timing. As for her like reputation, that's something that I have some familiarity with. Like I know there's a reputation for a lot of failed relationships, and there are a lot of songs about those relationships, and that there's this kind of bad girl arc that happened around Reputation. I don't know all the details or how successful it was. And that now she seems to be in a happy relationship with Travis Kelce. I will admit, I did zero research into who is this song about, who was she in a relationship with at this point. I was just, I'm going to listen to the albums, and if I like them, I like them. And I would say that going through these studio albums, it was interesting. And one thing I really appreciated was the natural progression from her being a country singer into a pop star. Because as those first 4 albums, because those are the country albums, as they go on, I'm like, okay, like country album with like some, kind of pop infusion. And then really when I hit Red, I noticed the singles that came from this album, they are not country songs. They don't feel like country songs. These are pop songs. So then when the next album, 1989, is like, I am reinventing myself as a pure pop star. This is a pop album, and this is kind of when you're going to get going forward. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Because I remember listening to Monsters and Men not too long ago. Like, all right, first album, folk album, and it kicks ass. Second album, folk album, and it kicks ass. And then the third album, something completely different. And it's not that it's bad. It was just such an abrupt change of style that it really threw me off, and it did interfere with my ability to enjoy it. If I listened to it again, maybe I would like it more. I think that was Fever Dream. I was like, this feels like a fever dream. What the hell am I listening to now? With Taylor, it was definitely a more smooth transition. Another thing I have to point out, and this is I feel like in a vacuum, this is a really weird criticism to have, and it's something I generally wouldn't criticize an artist for, is that there's just so much content. I'm generally like the idea of like when I get an album, like it's an hour long, there's like 15 songs, you're getting your money's worth. But for someone like me who's like, okay, I want to go through this artist's discography. Let's go through all their studio albums. If I want to go through extra shit, I can. But I'm going to do this. Okay. 12 albums. That's a lot. Each one is generally about an hour, with a couple exceptions. I think Midnight's and Life of a Showgirl are both under an hour, and I think those are the only two. Like, that's a lot of time to be spending on one artist. Also, each one is like 16 songs. I think here's the real problem with it, and part of it is, like I said, it's a lot. It's a very daunting task. Part of it is also, once you've listened to so many, at least for me, I kind of started feeling burnout. And I think a big reason for the burnout is, at least lyrically, a lot of songs start to sound the same after a few albums. I think it was really around Lovers where I officially started noting down, this is my Taylor Swift bingo card. And these are the kinds of songs that I would expect from an album. The list would be, here is the sweet love song, here is the, like, crazed love song, the I was naive and you hurt me song, the hopeful, optimistic ending of the album song, the I hope someone sees me and loves me for me song, the I will try to be better song, everyone is a critic and a loser song, the really horny song. That didn't usually start until, I feel like, about Reputation. Maybe there's one in 1989. But that was a bit later, but it's still a thing that happens. The I'm a lot, but I know you want it song, the very nostalgic love song, the pining for you love song, the I'm a bad girl song, and the I love toxic relationship song. Now, granted, that is a lot of different kinds of songs. I think I listed about 10. But 12 albums, usually about 14 to 15 songs each, and very often a song will fit multiple categories. I'm like, okay, this is that one, this is that one, this is that one. And I've realized, I feel like I've heard your take on this kind of song at least 4 times already. But now I'm listening to it like the 8th time. And with all due respect, after a while, it starts to get old. At least that's for me. And it did lead to me, by those last few albums, like, I'm just getting burnt out, and me just kind of going, what else do you got? Is there any, like, is this album going to feel different? Is it going to sound different? Am I going to add new types of songs to the bingo card? Because that would be great. No. I've heard this one before, I've heard this one before, I've heard this one before. I feel like after a certain point, I was just kind of getting diminishing returns. So with that being said, it's kind of my general overview. I now want to go album by album, and I will say, at least with the early albums, I would try to take a lot of notes, like, oh, you know, this song is making me think of this song is making me think of this. I haven't re-listened to those, so a lot of these notes are just kind of my impressions in the moment. But starting with the debut album, it was a fun time. You know, I remember listening to it. I was making breakfast. I was home alone. I was like dancing while putting some butter on some bread. I had fun. I think Teardrops is great. It's a song that I remember hearing a very long time ago, and I've always liked it. Invisible felt like a kind of proto version of You Belong With Me. Stay Beautiful really stuck out to me as a song about loving someone you care about and that you believe in them. And even if things don't work out between the two of you, as long as they're happy, you'll be happy for them. And I really, really liked that. I also remember Tim McGraw, Picture to Burn, and Cold As You, and thinking to myself, I like to think that these are all about the same relationship, but just kind of viewing them from different perspectives. Like, you know, like in the moment, like you're very angry, and then later, you know, you kind of reflected on it a bit more, but you're still not happy about it. And then later, now that you've had even more time, you can look at it a bit more fondly and nostalgically. And I think that was pretty interesting. Then you get to Fearless, which on the whole, I thought it was definitely about longing for... Sorry, my notes confused me for a moment. It's about longing for someone and enduring heartbreaks that leave a scar. Love Story and You Belong With Me are, I like to refer to them as, you know, windows down, radio up kind of songs. Anytime I listen to them, I have a great time. I think they're fantastic and they still hold up. Best Day was such a sweet song about her mom. I really liked that one. I Jumping to another artist real quick. I remember listening to Drake a couple years ago. I think that was 2024. And I thought it was okay. Like, there's some Drake songs I like. There's some albums that I enjoyed, but on the whole, just eh. But the song that I remember loving was Sandra's Rose. So I don't know what it is. There is something about an artist writing a song about their mom or about their grandma. Because I think Kanye had one in, what's the second of the college album? Graduation's the third one. I can't remember what the second one is called, but I have like the album art in my head. Is it College Dropout, or is that the first? Anyways, I believe there's a song about his grandma on that second album that I also really love. I really enjoy that kind of music. I feel like there's been a lot of ums here. Forever and Always was a song that when I listened to it, it reminded me a lot of my last relationship. And That's the Way I Loved You is interesting because that to me is a song about, having a good relationship, being in a healthy relationship, but missing and longing for toxicity. And again, I didn't do a lot of research into Taylor's personal life and into a lot of her other relationships, what caused those relationships to end. But having a song that just seemed to be like, yeah, this is really nice, but I missed this. It was like, huh. I don't know how telling that really is, or if that's, just kind of an interesting song. So then we get to Speak Now, which, oh gosh, the title track, is just absolutely insane. When I talk about like a crazed love song, that's the kind of song I'm talking about. I have to talk about Mean. Someday I'll be living in a big old city, and all yo ever gonna be is me. And a liar, and pathetic, and alone, life, and mean. I think it's my favorite. As much as I'm like, look, man, I love you, belong with me. I love Love Story. And there's other songs we went on. I'm like, I really like this one. I really like this one. I think as I was listening to the album, I just replayed Me a couple times. I think it's so fun. It's so funny. This is what I mean, where it's the, like, fuck you to the haters, you're all a loser kind of song. She has a few others. Mean sticks out to me. Number one, like I said, it's really fun. It's really catchy. But there's this whole... It's so oblivious. And that's kind of why I like it so much. I think it makes it that much funnier. Because the whole song is, you're criticizing me, and I feel like rather than being constructive, you're just being mean, and you don't need to do that. And I don't have to respect your criticism because you're just being an asshole. You know what? Fair. There is something fair about that. But then you even got her going, you're mean and a liar and pathetic and alone in life. And it's like, you're being mean back too, right, Taylor? Like, you've got some Regina George in you that's coming out, and I don't know if that's the joke or if the joke is completely lost on her. And I find that really fascinating, but I think the song is awesome. It's like, look, man, I can make fun of it all day long. I'm still shaking my ass to it. So there you go. It's great. Dear John, I think, is a really good song. It's this one I'm 99% sure is about John Mayer, because I do remember years ago hearing that that was a thing and then it did not end well. So I felt like it was emotional, it was brutal, it was great. I remember thinking to myself that Speak Now and Back to December both almost kind of felt like follow-up songs to That's How I Loved You, which I thought was pretty interesting. Story of Us, I said, it's a straight up pop song, and I feel like this is kind of more what her music is going to become. Again, like I was saying earlier, I feel like there is a natural progression from the country singer to the pop star, and I do think that's really neat. And I said that Haunted was really good. Okay, so then we move on to Red, and I just don't have much to say. I didn't take a lot of notes. I don't even remember why. I didn't dislike the album, but I think I was listening to it, and I just wasn't super locked in while listening to it. But I thought it was good. I did notice that the singles were a lot more pop focused, that being 22, Never Ever Ever Getting Back Together, which I talked about already, and Trouble, which I like Trouble. Trouble's a fun song. Or I think it's I Knew You Were Trouble is the full title, but you know what I'm talking about. That song slaps. I really enjoy it. I think it was the ending track. I don't remember what it was called, but that was one I really liked. And that's what kind of really clued me in. Like, yeah, I do feel like a lot of the ending songs feel very optimistic. I think I made the connection that they remind me a lot of BoJack Horseman. Like, you get to the ending of a season and you start to feel hope for BoJack and that things will go well, but then you get to the next season, you're like, he's still BoJack. And listening to Taylor, it's weirdly a kind of similar experience. I also want to highlight the song Stay, Stay, Stay. Number one, it's precious and I love it. And number two, just the very ending of the song where she finishes it and then she has this giggle and she's like, that was so fun. That was precious. And I just thought that was great. I really liked that. I think what I'm trying to say is I do appreciate vulnerability and like that little moment of breaking character, or here's a song about her mom. Here is a song about a relationship and someone who she feels like took advantage of her, and this is how he made her feel. I love that. I really do. Then we get to 1989. So now we are just in full pop star territory, and I'm just gonna come out and say it. I think this album rules. I think this album slaps. I did notice, like, okay, I noted a lot of songs in my notes. So Welcome to New York, I said, it's a lot funnier after seeing her courtside when the Knicks won the title. And not in like an ironic kind of way, just like, yeah, welcome to New York. Here she is in New York watching the Knicks get it all. I think that's really cool. I feel like I think I had said there's toxic views on love here too. I don't remember if that was in that particular song or just the album as a whole. Blank Space is a song that seemed like, I'm aware of some of my issues, but I'm not necessarily going to change. Like, I'm still just kind of going to be me and do me, for better or for worse. Also, that song kind of rules. Like, I really like Blank Space a lot. I noted that the one line, the boys only want love if it's torture. Don't say I didn't warn ya. And that really stuck out to me. It feels like there is someone who really hurt her. And I don't know if that's still going back to Dear John, if that's just a culmination of other relationships. But again, getting to that vulnerability, this sounds like someone who has really been hurt. And I don't want to say, like, you've really been hurt. I think that's interesting. It's just, I can see it reflected in her music, and I do find that interesting. I do appreciate the vulnerability. I mentioned Style. It's a song I used to hate. I just never really got into it, but I do like it, and I think, like, musically, it's a really good song. Let's see. I said Out of the Woods has a very catchy drum beat, but I found the chorus to be a bit overly repetitive. All You Had to Do Was Stay. I really, really liked it. I think there was a bit like when she sang Stay, and it has this like echo to it, which I didn't super care about. But the last Stay in the first chorus was just like, that sounded really good. Shake It Off, I think it's kind of a more self-aware version of Mean, or at the very least, I think it loses some of that obliviousness. It is another Screw the Haters song, but I mean, I still like it. I also have to say, I misheard part of the chorus for a very long time, because I think one of the lines is, the faker's gonna fake, 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 fake. My brain heard baker's gonna bake, and I was really confused what that had to do with the rest of the song and like its energy. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, bakers do bake things, Taylor. Like, that's an astute observation. So whenever I hear the song, I will still always sing along as Baker's Gonna Bake because I find it funny. And yeah, I still like the song. I think it's always been fun. She could have been getting down to this sick beat and then starts like playing patty cake. It's so funny. I genuinely enjoy it. Also, yeah, Bad Blood. Bad Blood just kind of rules. And I had also said This Love and Clean were favorites from the album that I just really enjoyed. So then we get to Reputation. So 1989 was that I am reinventing myself as the pop star. And after like the first couple tracks of Reputation, I was thinking, so we're just doing the reinvention again. But rather than, a musical change, it's I am embracing this bad girl arc, this bad Taylor arc, because I remember Look What You Made Me Do when it came out and being like, okay, so number one, this is just making me think of Arya Stark, and I don't know if that's intentional or not, but that's fun. And number two, the old Taylor can't come to the phone right now. Why? Because she's dead. It makes me laugh every time. Like, back when I first heard it, I was like, what? What are we doing here? Like, okay. And then even listening to it here and like the full context and building up to it with other songs and whatnot, I'm like, no, that part just still doesn't work for me. I'm sorry. But after, like, I did something bad, I'm like, okay, I think that's what we're doing. And then I think right after that is Endgame, which doesn't feel like a bad girl song. It felt like more of a love song, but there were two different features on it. I think one was Ed Sheeran, I think the other was Future. I might be wrong about who the second one was. Like, this sounded like it was a sweet love song, but the fact that you have two different people on it now makes it sound like you're two-timing between two different guys. So I think we are getting back into the bad girl territory. I'm just not buying it. This just isn't working for me. But as the album went on, what I kind of started to realize is Reputation is not about, I am the bad girl now, this is what I'm gonna do, and if you like it, great, and if you don't, get out of my way. And it's more about, my reputation precedes me for better or for worse, and a lot of the times it seems like it's for worse. And what I want is for someone to see me and to love me despite all of that. To see through the bullshit, to not let other people's, assumptions of me and interpretations of me influence them. Here is me, all the good, all the bad, and everything in between. And once I realized that, there was a point, because before that I was like, man, I don't like this one. This one is just not doing it for me. I think this is probably easily the worst album up to this point. And once I realized what it was about, I kind of said to myself, okay, is this now her best album? Because I really like it thematically. Let's see, what else do I want to say? Dress, I thought was like a really sweet song. I think it was kind of a horny song too, but I thought it was sweet. It is about being your lowest being at your lowest, but someone still seeing you and loving you. Call It What You Want, I said was also like 100% that similar theme, and I thought it was beautiful. Don't Blame Me felt like a combination of a Migment song and a Hozier song all in one, and I thought that ruled. Delicate was a song that I loved. I had noted like it felt very personal to me when I was listening to it. I already brought up Look What You Made Me Do. New Year's Day. Beautiful song. Might actually be my favorite Taylor Swift song. I said just might be best song. I think I meant that both, like this might be the best song on the album. This might be her best song, period. I loved it. And I think a lot of it was, now that like we've been going into pop star, we are firmly in pop star territory, but this was a more like stripped down, like just kind of emotional song. And I really, really liked that. So then we get to Lover, and I will say Lover, I think is when I really started feeling the burnout. I think I had mentioned earlier with my bingo card, this was the album where I really started going, okay, I've heard this song before. I've heard this song before. I will be honest, it's probably my least favorite album that I still like. Because I do still like it. I think it's fine. And there are some songs that, no, I really like this one. I really like this one. But it is where I guess the repetition started to really get to me. I guess some songs I wanted to note. I think the Cruel Summer was the devils roll their dice, angels roll their eyes. I did like that line. I thought that was fun. Sorry, I'm trying to look at my notes. I don't even know some of this. I mean, it's typed. I can read it, but I'm like, I don't even know what the hell I'm trying to say with some of these. The Man, that's one I can know. That was about not getting credit and being insulted due to being a woman, which reminded me of Beyonce's If I Were a Boy. And I'll be honest, I do prefer Beyonce's. I really, really like that song. I said You Need to Calm Down kind of had a similar energy. The Archer had a really great beat. It was a very anxiety-inducing song. I thought that kind of ruled. I thought it also sort of had that theme from Reputation. Paper Rings is so dang cute. I really, really liked Paper Rings, man. It was just precious. Cornelia Street, I just specifically said it didn't need to be 5 minutes. Like, I thought it was fine, but it just felt really overly long. Afterglow, the vibe kind of felt like, the breakup was my bad, and I think I kind of liked the, I guess, accountability in it, but It's Nice to Have a Friend was also a really sweet song, and I thought Daylight was, an interesting self-reflection on love. Like, again, like, looking at the songs in my notes, I'm like, I liked quite a bit of it, but it was where I was kind of starting to get bogged down with the, it's this one again. It's this one again. Okay. Man, I have 5 albums left, and I think I've kind of already listened to it. This might sound really mean, but it's like, I feel like I've kind of listened to everything she has to say at this point. I don't know if I want to do 5 more albums. But then the next one was Folklore. I took no notes while I was listening to Folklore. I remember not having a particularly great day. I think I hadn't had a particularly good couple days. I think that was the day I broke my hand, or it was the day after. Was not doing great. So I sat down, started listening to the album, and was just kind of put into like a lullaby state of, I'm awake, but I'm sort of sleeping, and I'm listening to the music, but also kind of not. But not in a, how do I want to say it? Because I've talked about other albums that have hit me like this. Like, what is it? All Is Love and Pain and the Mouse Parade by Of Monsters and Men. I think Life and Death by Migment. Those may have been the only 2. Maybe there's like another 1 or 2 that I've listened to this year. But I do kind of like to call them lullaby albums, or I could almost call them an ASMR album, where it just sort of helps me sleep. It helps me rest. And even though I am awake, but I'm not entirely there, So I loved it, because I just really love and appreciate an album that can kind of hit me like that. Like, I specifically noted afterwards that, like, I didn't play the bingo card. I just loved it. It was a beautiful lullaby. And then we get to Evermore, which to me was just kind of Folklore Part 2. And it was still good. I still liked it a lot. I didn't like it as much as Part 1, but it was still good. Then we get to the next 3. So the next one was Midnights. And I'm going to be honest, I felt like I just kind of went straight back to the bingo card. Like, Folklore was a nice break. Evermore was a nice extension. Now we're just back to the, I'm sorry, but I think I've heard you say everything that you need, need and want to say. I've listened to Midnights before. What year did it come out? It was like 24, I think. And I remember listening to a lot of albums that came out that year. It was like, okay, the Grammy, I think I specifically was like, here's the Grammy nominations. Here's supposed to be the best albums of the year. Let me listen to these. And I remember liking a lot of them and thinking Midnights was just kind of boring. So I was really looking forward to listening to it again. Like, maybe it's gonna be like a Foo Fighters situation. I think Here We Are was the Foo Fighters album that came out that year, and the first time I listened to it just didn't really do anything for me. The second time I listened to it, after listening to all of Foo Fighters, I loved it, and I thought it was one of their best albums. Like, okay, Midnights, you were the album that won that year. This is the fourth of Taylor's album of the year wins. Knock me out the way that the others did. And I was still bored. It just didn't do anything for me. I really liked Sweet Nothing, and I really liked Maroon. That's just kind of it. I just did not care for the musical style of this one. Then we get Tortured Poets Department. Like with Folklore, I didn't take notes, but unlike with Folklore, it's not because I was so entranced. I just didn't care. It really was like, I am not feeling it anymore. I did not listen to the extended, deluxe edition, because my general stance is I am going to listen to the album as it came out. Excuse me. And yes, I think the deluxe edition came out that same day, came out a little bit after, but that is not how the album was technically first released, which means technically I don't have to listen to it. And a lot of that was, I don't want to listen to another 16 songs when I feel like I've kind of already gotten the gist of this. I am good. And then Life of a Showgirl, I think it's fine. I liked Ophelia a lot. And I remember I was like, ooh, I really like the opening track. Okay, I think we've got something. Maybe this is the album. We're going to end on a high note. And I also really liked Ruin the Friendship, but most of the rest of the songs just didn't do it for me. There's this one line, was it from Father? Is that even a track? I think it is. It's something about, making deals with the devil, blah, 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 because my dick's bigger. And it was that part specifically. I'm like, okay, that was a weird line. I don't think I ever wanted to hear Taylor Swift talk about that, but okay. Oh, this is part of the chorus. This one's not doing it for me. And I just kind of had that vibe throughout most of the album. It's just not doing it for me. So my personal album ranking from 12 to 1, and I talked about this as I was going. I did not listen to the Taylor's versions. I've already listened to these albums. I'm good. I don't feel like I really need to listen to them again. But the fact that she has that, and she has her masters, that's awesome. I don't want to discredit that in any way. I'm good. So my ranking from 12 to 1, Tortured Poets Department, Midnights, Life of a Showgirl. These are the three that I just didn't really like. Now we get into the ones that I do like, but probably don't quite love, which I would say are Lover, Red, Taylor Swift, and Speak Now. And then we get to Evermore, which I feel like it's kind of on the borderline. I'd say with Speak Now as well. It's these are the albums I enjoyed. But then we get to the top 4. And the next 3 are kind of hard, because I don't know what order I have them in. There's a part of me that says, okay, number 4 is 1989. I think it's really consistent. I think it's really good. But I don't know if I like it as much as those other 2. And another part of me says, well, it's got to be Reputation. Because as much as I really came around to Reputation once I got a better understanding of it and feeling for it, I don't think there are songs that don't stick with me as much as the other 2. I think it really comes down to the singles. I think from these other 2 albums are way stronger than from Reputation, at least from my osmosis, when the album had come out. And the other part of me is well, it's got to be Fearless, because I like Fearless a lot. And I do like it on the whole, but I think it's kind of carried by 2 songs I really liked for a really long time. But I'm also I really like those 2 songs a lot. And the album as a whole is really good, but I look at Reputation, I'm thematically, it's really good. And there are some songs that are really good. And New Year's Day might be my favorite Taylor Swift song. I'm 1989? Thematically works really good too. and it might be the most consistent. So I would say in no particular, it's like I did a video a few years ago. It's like, what are my favorite anime? And there was a point where I'm trying to decide between Higurashi, Steins Gate, and Clannad. I'm like, what is my ranking of these three? Because I feel like I almost like them kind of evenly. And I feel pretty similar here. The way I wrote it down was 1989 at 4, Reputation at 3, and Fearless at 2. I'm like, I don't even know if I agree with that. But some combination of those three albums are 4, 3, and 2 because I do love all three. Number 1 is Folklore. I don't even have to think about that. That was easily my favorite. No question my favorite. Like 12 out of 10. No notes. So, something I have tried to do with a lot of artists, like once I've listened to their music, is like, what is the core theme, or like what is kind of that core mission statement of their music? And for Taylor, it does seem to be, it is that desire to be seen, known, and loved in a way that feels healthy and in a way that is unconditional. And I like that a lot. And I do feel like that is a very fundamental human desire, and I do think her music resonates. Quite a lot of it resonated with me. But because there was so much of it, and I think so much of it was talking about the same handful of topics, and there was a lot of overlap, I did start to get burnt out. I did reach that point of, I've heard you say this already, what else do you got? But there is a lot that I do really like. Would I call myself a Swiftie? I don't think so. But I would say that on the whole, I am a fan of her music, and I do, as I did when I first heard Teardrops on My Guitar, I do continue wishing her a good career and a happy life.